Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're driving on a Spanish Town Bypass and we're heading from Mandela Highway to the Spanish Town roundabout. Okay, now Spanish Town is a major city in Jamaica. It used to be the capital of Jamaica. It was formed or founded hundreds of years ago, maybe 400 or 500 years ago, because it was the capital of Jamaica when Jamaica was a Spanish colony, and that was in the 1600s. Alright, so Spanish Town is a very large city, has a lot of people. So you find that there's a lot of traffic in the city. In the town, sorry, a lot of traffic. And some of the roads are small because the town was planned out 400 years ago before they had cars. But nonetheless, there's a lot of traffic. So the government decided, this is years ago, I have no idea which government, to build a Spanish Town bypass so that persons can bypass the town of Spanish Town. You don't have to drive through Spanish Town when leaving the city now. You can take the bypass, and as you can see, the traffic flows very freely. During peak hour traffic, you might have some delays, but it flows very freely, so you can easily bypass the town and you don't have to get caught up in the traffic. Now, back in the day, Jamaica didn't have these super highways like Highway 2000. So when you're driving from Kingston to, say, Westmoreland, you had to go through the different towns. You had to go through Spanish Town, which would be a traffic nightmare. You'd have to go through Old Harbour. You'd have to go through Maypen. You'd have to go through Mandeville. So as time went on, they started to build bypasses because it was taking too long to go through these towns, and it was unnecessary for the traffic to go through the towns. So this is the first bypass, the Spanish Town bypass. There's no bypass to Old Harbour. You have a Maypen bypass and you have a Mandeville bypass. Now these are very large towns. So it was necessary to build these bypasses because back in the day, there was no such thing as Highway 2000. This literally would be what you considered a highway back in the day. But remember, Jamaica didn't have a lot of cars when these roads were first being built. But as time went on and Jamaica developed, and you had Portmore coming up as a very large residential area. You had Spanish Town, which was already a very large residential area. These roads became necessary. And I can tell you, today, these bypasses are not adequate to handle all the traffic that's going this way. That's why, luckily, we have the highways now. But when you use a highway, you have to pay a toll on Highway 2000. But a lot of people still use the highway to cut out these routes. So I have to say Jamaica is developing quite nicely in terms of the road infrastructure, the main roads. Residential roads is a different video, but mostly the NWA is doing a good job in building out these main roads. Okay, at this intersection you turn left, you go into Portmore, you turn right, you go into Spanish Town. And Portmore and Spanish Town are the two largest areas in terms of population and size, probably. No, they have the largest populations outside of the city of Kingston, Portmore and Spanish Town. And if you notice, the white lines need to be repainted, and I'm just dumbfounded as to why it's so hard to paint these white lines. I don't know. There's so many roads in Jamaica that don't have these white lines, that need the white lines on them. At least this one had it, but it was it's just faded now over time. A subscriber had mentioned that you need a special kind of paint to paint these roads so that the paint lasts longer. You can't use a regular paint that you'd use on a wall. Okay, on the left is the March Pen area. You turn right, you go into Spanish Town, and that's where you have the Oasis Shopping Center. Now, if you notice how far there's like a shoulder to the left and right of the road. That's because when this road was designed, it was designed to be a 4-lane road. But when it was built, they only built 2 lanes at the time. So if they ever need to expand the road, it can be expanded to 4 lanes quite easily. Because if you notice, the light poles they're away from the road so that there's space for another lane. And then look at the stoplight now. Look at where the base for the stoplight is. That was built like that so that when the road is eventually used as 4 lanes, they don't have to move the stoplight. It's at the right spot. Now this is a very busy road, so you see a lot of stalls or persons selling stuff on the left and on the right. Because when there is traffic and cars stop, it's a very busy road, so persons just, I doubt that this is a legal vending area, but persons just set up. And of course you see the cars stopping on the left to purchase something. Sometimes it can back up the traffic. Okay, on the right now is a food for the poor location. It's a charity that assists persons in need. Alright, so we're now coming up to the Spanish Town roundabout. This roundabout, if we take the first left, we'd go on to Old Harbour Road, and that takes us into the town of Old Harbour. If we go straight, we stay on the bypass, and that takes us to the Angels area or the Bogwalk Gorge. And if we go right around and go right, we go into Spanish Town. Okay, so let's just drive around and show you guys. If we turn left here, we go onto the highway, and that's the PJ Patterson Highway. If we turn left here, that's Old Harbour Road, and that takes us all the way to Old Harbour. If we turn left here, where the truck is going, we stay on the bypass, and that takes us to Angels, and that eventually leads us to the Bogwalk Gorge. Now here, if we turn left here, we go into this town of Spanish Town. And the left over there, where the taxi stopped, that's the road we just came off of, which is the bypass. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.